Hey guys, that's 6 5-gallon buckets of Merlot juice. It's 100% juice. I'm going to show you how to make wine out of this. Take your buckets, drain it into a bigger bucket. This is a 6-gallon beer fermenting bucket. I got a spigot on the bottom. So I threw all the wine in there. Now I'm funneling into a charboy. That's what you first have to do. Fill up your charboys. And get as much oxygen in there as you can, because the yeast is going to need a lot of oxygen to multiply and start the fermentation process. For every 5-gallon bucket, you use 1 packet of Red Star or equivalent dry wine yeast. I got 10 gallons going in this one, so I'm going to use 2 packets. And you pitch the yeast, well, you put the yeast in once the temperature of the wine hits about 70 degrees. All these bubbles are aerating the wine, so by setting it up this way, you're getting a lot of air in the wine. It's mixing air in with the wine, with the actual grape. I'm sorry, the grape juice. Here's one container. It's about 70 degrees. I'm just going to pour a packet of yeast in it. It's one packet for every 5 gallons. And then what you do is you cover it with a Mr. Coffee filter and a rubber band for a week, because it's going to start bubbling and it's going to start primary fermentation. Once it starts primary fermentation, it's actually, the yeast is multiplying, and you don't want to limit it. Some people put airlocks on it. You want to give it as much air as possible so that yeast multiplies and starts doing its thing. Okay, the back breaking work is done. All the grape juice was transferred into charboils. I got a Mr. Coffee filter on there with rubber bands. I keep it like this for about a week until it goes through primary fermentation. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to make wine. I've been doing it for years. People start measuring levels of sugar in the wine, and then I got this little thing called the wine-o-meter. It cost me $10. It tells me what proof the wine is in there. Usually I get about close to 18% proof, so it's pretty good wine. Tastes great. Tastes much better than some of the store-bought wine that you make. And it works out cheaper. Now this wine's going to ferment over the next week, and I'll stop by the basement, this is my parents' house, and show you what it starts to look like once it ferments. It's Merlot. Don't go too crazy when you make a wine. Just like I said, just pour it in a charboil, throw the yeast in there for the first week, put a Mr. Coffee filter with a rubber band on there and let the yeast do its work. Then after the first or second week, when the fermentation slows down, I put an airlock on it. The whole trick is keeping everything clean. The cleaner your environment is, the better your wine tastes. I went to the local nursery where they had the grapes, and they are filthy. I mean, absolutely filthy. The equipment that they use to crush the grapes and destem the grapes are horrible. I mean, they don't even bother cleaning it, and that's not going to make a good tasting wine. I picked the wine, the 100% grape juice, from the same place that they get the wine, which is in California. I think it's called California's Best. And the juice is extracted in a controlled environment where it's pretty sterile, and you're not going to get anything that's going to corrupt the taste of your wine. Well, I'm going to show you in a couple weeks what this is going to look like, even right down to bottling it, and hopefully you enjoy my video. Okay, primary fermentation has begun. As you can see, it's starting to foam. The yeast is eating the sugar and making alcohol. You can actually see it bubbling there. And this is primary fermentation. This is off to a good start. This is beginning to boil also. All you have to do is just keep it at room temperature and the yeast will do its job. This one's fermenting too. It's going to catch up to, not much of a head on that, but it's going to catch up to these two shortly. Sometimes that'll even boil over and spill out of the charboy. There's a nice shot of the primary fermentation. The whole room starts to smell like wine. This is in the 10-gallon mix. This is all a Merlot. This is all Merlot. This one here. I'm waiting for Pinot Noir grape juice to come in. But I'm gonna keep the Mr. Coffee filters with the rubber bands on for about a week, and then I'm gonna airlock them. You want to keep the air out after primary fermentation, because then it's gonna taste like vinegar if it's exposed to the air. And that's what the airlock does, is it pretty much keeps anything from going into your Charboy. Most people put water in the airlock. I use a Burgundy or a brandy, so that instead of water, so it doesn't grow much bacteria in it. Well, here you go. The next part of the video will be coming up soon. And looks like it's going well. Okay, primary fermentation is almost over. I went ahead and put the airlocks on them. This is what they look like. That air is escaping from the bottle. It's part of the fermentation process. Sometimes I put them a little bit early. Some people just keep them open, but I've been having luck with this method. The wine tastes good. Here's what it looks like. There's two types. This is one type that I've had for a while. And pretty much you pour it in there, and there's a cap over that plastic piece that comes up. There's a cap that goes over it. There's vodka in here. I don't use water. Water tends to grow bacteria. We'll probably do this for another day or so. And then the distance of the bubbles coming up, it won't be so fast. There you have it. Now in about a month or two, I'll check up to see how far we are in the process. The wine has a very like pink color right now. It's gonna become clearer as it begins to settle, and all the settlement finds its way to the bottom. Check up in about 2 more months and we'll rack it. So this is part 1, getting everything from the juice to putting it in the Charboys, watching primary fermentation, and then putting the airlock on it. Always check the airlock too. It's very important. Make sure that there's no air getting into your wine. If it does, if you get air in your wine, it's going to taste like vinegar. And that's not a good thing after you invest all this money in it. Alright guys, see you in a couple months.